Want a cup of Wilkins coffee?
What'll Mr. Wilkins do if I don't?
Oh, he'll probably put his foot down.
Right. Hello, everyone. Yes, indeed, we are back once again. I am mushed into the corner, Steve. Let me fix my camera. This is why you should. This is why you should fix the cap. Now it looks even worse. Great.
Now I can stare at your manly chest.
Yes,
Are you
you
wearing
can.
pajamas?
I'm not wearing pajamas. No, I'm just. I just decided not to continue dressing myself. That's all. Welcome to Smart Arts with Stephen and Alexander. How are you, everyone? How's Stephen?
Stephen's quite well, actually. Stephen's doing very well. He went to a lovely dinner earlier this evening.
Dinners are good.
He drank red wine. He drank Lefroy. He was fed an extremely large piece of steak. And the children,
I haven't had one of those for a long time.
Oh, very good. What is it with? It seems to be a thing now that we're having this joke about men seem to reach a certain age. Now, this hasn't happened to me. Sorry, you asked me a basic question like, "How are you?" And here am I launching into my, just taking the microphone and talking about.
Well, you need to take the microphone because you have a brand shiny new microphone. You have to.
I do have a brand new shiny new microphone because
I've got a brand new shiny microphone. Yeah.
Yay! I was listening to the playback of our last one, and every time I came on, I was like, "Wow." I don't actually own a CB radio, but it sure sounds like I do. So I ran out and I bought this much nicer microphone. And who knows, next time I may even buy a webcam, which I keep forgetting.
Oh, so we get to see your handsome face again. That would be nice.
Well, you'll get to see my face. But, maybe I don't know, maybe I'll stick a mask on the front of it.
I mean, that's always an option. But until we get to that point, until we get to the position where we ask such weird questions like who is behind that mask, we have to ask the more important question, which is, what's that beer, Steve?
That beer, Alex, is Lefroy whiskey, 1812. I mean, this obviously isn't from 1812, but that's when they started making it, according to the front of the bottle.
Cool.
And Lefroy is a peaty whiskey. It's quite strong tasting. It's very smoky. I was drinking it earlier this evening, and my compatriot, who is a fan of it, said yes, it tastes like burned dirt.
You know those times when you're eating dirt and you think, you know what would this taste like if it was cooked? Just a little bit too much.
Not just cooked, but yes, overcooked. If I not just cooked this, I overcooked it. And the answer is it would taste like Lefroy. It was very tasty. I like a strong tasting drink. I like a strong, nice, peaty whiskey. And that is what I am drinking this evening.
I would definitely join you in previous months, but in the month in which I have had a broken foot and I've been in bed, I have had a huge sweet tooth. I mean, that can't be healthy. But I have been craving sweet things a lot. I think it's mostly because my body and my brain is just shouting, "You need energy, Alexander Davenport. You need energy." So yeah, my coffees have been very, very milky and sugary, and I had pancakes for breakfast because I'm a child.
Did you have rainbow sprinkles on it?
I've never liked sprinkles. I have never. Have you ever liked sprinkles? Honestly, Steve.
Yes,
yeah?
I have.
Because I've always found
I like sprinkles.
You like I've always found that sprinkles are like sugar, except bad.
I've always found rainbow sprinkles are like sugar, except in tiny rainbow form.
Well,
They don't really have a taste beyond sugar.
beyond
I
sugar,
will tell
yeah.
you that.
But I don't know. The texture is just like rock, and I just anyway. That's beside the point. We'll talk about the texture of sprinkles another day. I promise. That's the
Oh,
Alexander
thank
Davenport
God.
promise.
Thank God.
Oh,
I'm sure, there's anyone tuning into this going, God damn it, I hope they talk about sprinkles
man, they're
again.
talking about cooking dirt and sprinkles again. Jesus. That was my analogy for Blackpool. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, 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 it
Because
was.
you and I went to Blackpool, and we
We
went to several
did.
other towns around England first.
We
And
did. We,
my analogy for Blackpool was just imagine a piece of shit on the floor, but it's covered in
yep.
glitter, sprinkles, and a neon sign. That's basically Blackpool, and that's how they make money.
Yeah. I, I, I do not understand why, why, why,
And
why- this is
the same
very
look on your
weird.
face for Blackpool was the same look on your face when I took you into the M&M store, and and I know you just wanted to go up to the information place and say, "Excuse me, why does this place exist?" And their answer would probably be looking at you directly in the face and saying, "Blackpool, baby, Blackpool."
I think you're correct. Oh dear.
So now we've
So-
insulted an entire town.
oh, come on. I'm
You
sure they've heard worse.
you just wrote down just before we started 1 second
Mhm.
video.
I did. I did.
Why did you want to talk about a 1 second video?
Okay, well, as as ardent viewers, wait, sorry, ardent viewer, wait, has yeah, if there were an ardent viewer, as they would have noticed,
As
we always,
you pretend viewer at home know.
yes, yes. What it's like, I don't know, it's like putting on a play, right, with no one in the audience, or to borrow a reference from Flight of the Conchords. It's like having there's a blindfolded threesome going on, right? And everyone's wearing a blindfold, and then at one point, two of the people leave and leave like one person on their own with a blindfold.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So as ardent viewers, real or imaginary, would know, we usually begin with a section about where we talk about anecdotes. And my anecdote is this. I have started this year trying to take 1 second videos. So it's an app called 1SE, so imagine 1SV or something like that. So
1SB,
imagine
yep.
originally. And the idea is that at the end of the year, you create a video which is 360 seconds, sorry, 365 seconds long, consisting of 1 second on each day. And it's been kind of fun, except my observation is this. Um, the things that I'm able to take video footage of rarely reflects what I'm actually doing on that day.
That's
Like,
understandable. Yeah.
yeah,
But I mean, do you really want to explain everything that you have done in the day in 1 second? Not really.
well, it might be a more accurate representation of what's going on.
But is that the whole
Like,
point of the 1 second video app? I mean, it
like,
doesn't
I,
sound like it.
well, I guess I viewed it as sort of like a record of what have you been doing? What did I do this year? Oh yeah, yeah, I did these things. And so, like for example, there's no videos where I'm at work, like none. And yet that is where I spent the bulk of my time. And so at the
Do
end
you
of this,
consider
I'll
this a
go,
bad thing?
I consider it from a storytelling perspective, I consider it a bad thing. It's like, and I'm starting to craft like 1 second scripts so that so that the videos actually reflect what's been going on. So like, I've been preparing for a big presentation and then it got cancelled, and like none of that has been recorded. What's recorded is stuff like putting the kids in the bath and like I'm having a glass of water. Um, like, this isn't actually reflecting my life at all. If the point is at the end of the year, I can go, this is what I did this year. Well, then I would
Right.
like it to actually reflect what I did this year.
So,
Um,
in order to reflect properly what it is, you have 1 second script. Now, how many words is that per script? Is that something like 5 to 10 words you managed to
oh,
get in
something like that.
a
Sometimes it's
second?
like, sometimes it's like 3 to 4 words. So like I created one for Australia Day, and the line is this Australia Day. That's it. Um, and just, it's just because I couldn't actually take any video footage of Australia Day, but it was like, well, I've had the day off work, and how do I record this? How do I record that this is what my day was? And I'm like, well, I'll just say Australia Day. So I video recorded myself
You could
going
record yourself
Australia
next
Day.
to the barbecue with the kids.
I could, except we didn't have a barbecue. So, it's just sort of these weird things you do. Like I could have recorded the kids running down the corridor, but it would have looked exactly the same as every other day
Well, there
that
we
I've
are.
recorded. So yeah, so I'm creating these 1 second scripts, like where on one, I haven't even made it yet, but like for this week, I'm going to record myself going, I have this really big presentation next week. I'm going to knock it out of the park, and I'm going to spend so much work on it. And then the next one would be, what do you mean it's cancelled? That's my script. Like that actually is reflective of what has happened this week. And other things is that like today, I spent most of today, the big event, apart from right now, obviously, is I went out for like dinner with friends. I'd never been around at their place before, and it was very nice. So the best thing to do would have been to bust out my camera and take a second of video footage of the house. It's just that would have been an extremely rude thing to do.
I
Oh,
honestly love this idea. I want to see, and it might be a bit headachy to watch the whole thing, but it would only take, 3.5 minutes,
365
right?
seconds. Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that.
something like that. It's probably four. Is it 4 or 5 minutes? It'd be 6 minutes.
Oh, because, wait,
360,
wait, hang on, let me do the maths. I know
three
another one.
sixty five. So six sixes are 36. So it'd be 360. Yeah, 6 minutes.
Yeah, so it'll be all right. So 6 minutes long. Maybe it would be a bit long to watch this sort of. Uh,
Well, particularly if it's 6 minutes of kids running up a corridor.
well, yeah.
Um,
So
because if you like,
God knows what it would look like, but it's not a bad experiment. It's especially if you think of the scripts to do beforehand and then go ahead and do them.
oh,
Um,
the
it's-
scripts are supposed to be reflective of what happened on that day. It's kind of a video diary
your
type
idea of
thing.
just saying I'm preparing for this presentation. I'm going to knock it out of the park. Next day, what do you mean it's cancelled? That's wonderful. I approve of that. I kind of want to do that in the past 2 days. For example, I just had an interview. I think I smashed it, and then the next day is, I didn't smash it. I didn't get the job. I felt pretty upset about that, honestly, yesterday, Stephen.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Alex.
Damn well,
That's really
I was
sad.
damn well upset. But it would have been good for a 1 second chuckle for some people,
Yeah, yes, that's true.
and
That's
it
true.
sums up
Someone would have found
what's
it.
going on. I
Yeah,
might look. I might look this up. 1SV. I will
yeah. Let me check
definitely
that.
have a look at that. Cool.
It's fun. It's fun. Mm.
Um,
Yeah, one S. It's actually one SE is the name of the
1SE.
app.
That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
it makes no sense. That's why I thought it must be one SV, but it isn't.
This makes me confused and angry.
Well, sense anymore.
Um,
My
right.
my mic my
Wh-
microphone, this brand new microphone, picks up everything. It's quite disturbing. Like
Yeah, but it's
when I,
also fun.
yes, I suppose so. But like, I feel like if I hold it against the wall, I'll be able to listen to the neighbors. It's Yeah, I can hear my wife watching TV like at the other end of the house. Um,
Well, the good thing is, I can't hear her, so that's okay.
oh, well,
Oh,
thank
I
God for
looked
that.
this up. It means 1 second every day. That makes more sense.
Oh, there you go. That does make more sense.
We so
I just
silly.
like,
Okay. Oh, and it started 9 years ago.
right.
I didn't
Okay.
know that.
Oh,
All right. I have. This is the first time I've heard about this. Because
well,
smaller and
no.
smaller video formats were becoming the trend, and there was
Oh, yeah,
Vine,
of
and of
course.
course, there's TikTok.
Vines. I didn't hear about Vine until it was dead. When
Oh
I
well,
heard
there we are.
about it,
I
like,
had
yeah.
Vine. Vine was interesting.
Is it? When I finally heard about Vine, my reaction was, why does this exist? And like I saw some of the big Vine memes, and I was like, I don't, I don't think I'd enjoy that. Um,
I I
but
I was watching Ricky Gervais.
I hate Ricky Gervais. I
You're not
really do.
alone.
He's the biggest wanker. I remember, seeing this clip, or this, yeah, it was a meme around. It was Ricky Gervais going, "You have no right to any, 20 of your political opinions. Nobody wants to hear it. Don't get up here and grandstand for your own ego about, about this stuff. Just say thank you and get off." And I thought, Jesus Christ, you of people are the last one to criticize anybody for for grandstanding on their opinion.
Yeah,
Like that's what you've just done for the that's what that spiel is. Um, that you saying that other people have no right to have an opinion is having an opinion.
yeah.
So,
That's the irony is not lost on me.
oh, that's right. It's that term virtue signaling. He's going on about, oh, you're virtue signaling. It's like, well, you're virtue signaling by calling it virtue signaling. It's,
Yeah,
you know, and the fact that those words got turned into a meme with your face on it and then spread across the internet with people going, oh, Ricky Gervais, like, thank God, how amazing for you to speak up. Like,
he's being used as the uh guy who is calling out the elite conspiracies of Hollywood. You know,
it,
he's he's being used as the guy who's calling that stuff out, and so there's a lot of alt right people who love the guy.
oh, yeah, yeah. But it's just this line about, oh, if that's virtues, okay, and we can put this in the culture thing, really, but if that's virtue signaling, like generally speaking, I calling anybody virtue signaling is virtue signaling.
Yeah,
That's what it's doing, is that it is saying my virtues are X and my virtue is that I hate you. That's what it is. And in a sense, if you break it down, like yeah, yeah, and I got into an argument with somebody a while ago when they were going on about, oh, this is just virtue signaling. Like, you realize priests virtue signal. He goes, no, they don't. I'm like, what do you call a priest's collar? Why are they're running around wearing an item whose sole purpose is to signal to everybody else their, what their spiritual status is. What their, that's virtue signaling. That's its purpose. And yeah, that conversation did not go terribly well, as one may imagine. But
I
to be
remember.
honest, I was
I
getting
miss
by.
those. I miss those conversations with us.
Yes, indeed. So there we go. Anyway, that's Stephen's anecdotes of the 1 second every day. Um, that's what I've been doing. So tell me, Alex, what's
One.
your anecdotes?
Oh, I don't really have an anecdote other than I mean, I attempted a I did a job interview, and I thought I nailed it, and then I got an email saying nope, you didn't nail it. So I feel like I've wasted several days of work.
Was this the one where you had to do, you were working on the video
Yeah,
as
that's right.
well?
Yeah,
Well, look, at least the video got you the interview. So,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a
I'm
little
going to
bit like,
send one more email just saying, look, I know you don't want me as a video editor, but I have other skills. Just keep me in mind, okay? I'm not going to harass them about it. I'm just going to put my hand up and say, "Hey, I'm here." You know,
well, look,
that's a
what I suggest.
I mean, that's the responsible thing to do without getting on your knees. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. What might be an idea, might I suggest, is that you reply to you reply to the email and said, "No worries, thanks for your email.
Yeah.
If a vacancy becomes available, you've got my CV. If a vacancy becomes available, please let me know." Because what you don't want to appear is desperate.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true.
So, so
Yeah.
the thing is, like, let's say that their current video editor, whoever they hire, doesn't pan out. So they advertise it again,
Yeah.
and they might give it to you. Um, but you don't want to. The chances of them giving it to you, I don't think, goes up as a result of you, you know, well, basically appearing desperate. But I think it does make sense to reply and go,
Sure.
thanks if they, if you're looking in the future, please keep me in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They
Um.
can't have been, I mean, they can't have been too unimpressed because I gave the interview based off your work. So,
That is true. Yeah. They did speak to me for a little bit, so I've got no problem talking to anyone new. Oh, look, we have someone new. Avenging Pineapple. Hello, Avenging Pineapple. You like old
hello,
computers.
Avenging Pineapple.
Kind of, and look, your words are now appearing in one of those old computers, Avenging Pineapple.
Ooh, how does it happen? You know what?
Magic, magic, Steve, magic.
I, I do love old computers. I don't just like them, I love them. And I particularly like that old computer, which, as I have said to Alex on many occasions, is an Apple IIe, which is the first computer I ever owned. It's a great little machine.
The
So
Apple
there you go.
IIe was, I think, was one of the computers that Prince of Persia was made on.
It was. It was
And
the
it just as they had finished, they learned that the Apple IIe was not going to be made anymore, and
Yeah.
so they thought, "Oh no, this new awesome game is going to be forgotten and just gone into the fiery pits of hell." And then they went, "No, no, 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 we like this. Let's put it on a new console. Let's keep on going." And that was enough to make it a legend. So
It's very true. So yeah, Prince of Persia was written for the Apple II, but it was at the end of its life when it came up. So they ported it to DOS, and that was where it took off. Your set has a post-industrial Soviet feel to it.
I guess
Yeah, that's
so.
fair enough,
Sure. All
I
right.
suppose. Yeah, I can kind of see where that's coming from. I mean, although if it was Soviet, I'm sure they'd have a different machine. The Apple was made, of course, in California. So I don't know what computer the Soviets used.
The
I don't know.
Soviet, yeah. What sort of communist position would be the best? What would be the most communist computer out there? That's a question I never thought I'd ask. Is this a communist room? No, it is not.
No, it really
No.
isn't. So thank you for joining us. This is a podcast called Two Smart Arts. We're going to explain it to you as you know, you appear to be one of our few viewers. Alex and I have been doing this for a little while. We took a break. We're back. The short version is that Alex, whom I don't know if you know, is an accomplished visual artist, specializing particularly in watercolors and oils. Isn't that right, Alex?
Well, acrylics and
Acrylics, my
watercolors.
mistake.
Yeah, I used to do
And
oils. Those were good
oh,
times.
okay, there we go.
Um,
My interest is in theatre. So basically, we talk about art and stuff, and sometimes we also talk about jobs that Alex has
and
applied
sometimes we
for.
talk about job interviews that go nowhere. Look,
It's true.
there's two points that I put up there, which I don't actually. I had full intention of actually reading, and talking about, but I'm not ready to talk about. But I'll tell you something that we are ready to talk about, and that is
Oh,
the house.
the house. Oh,
Yes.
good, good. I'm
Now,
very
look.
keen to talk about this.
Now, listen. I spoke. I immediately contacted you and said, "Look, let's talk about this. Here it is." You then said, "What the hell did I just watch?" It took about a full day, and then you said, "Oh my god, I want to talk about the house immediately." That's a sort.
It's true.
That's a
Which is
sort
the
of.
thing I do. Which is the thing I do as the Commissar for Agriculture, Inland Waterways, and Twitch. Sorry, that's the comment from
Yeah,
Vengeance
fair.
Farm.
All right, fair enough. What
Yes.
is it? The
Look, I thought it was.
as I find a reference picture for us. What was your first impression and last
Um,
impression? I'm guessing.
okay, my first impression was this. So you should bring something up and we'll explain. The House is a film on Netflix. It is technically three short stories. It is
Yep.
animated in stop motion animation. It has some fairly big names associated with it. Was Helena Bonham Carter, I saw did some of the voices. Who are the other big names in it? If you can find the reference picture and put that up, that'll be useful. Um,
The only reference picture I have right now is this delightful image here of yeah, that's way too small. I'll keep on looking, and
yeah, okay, well that kind of does it. Um, so yeah, the thing I found it was I opened it up and it said first tagline dark comedy, and I'm like, okay, that's not a good start. Because, in my experience, anything which describes itself as a dark comedy tends to forget that the second half of that phrase is comedy.
yeah,
Um, like, I can't think of any dark comedies I've seen where I've gone, well, that was very funny. Usually I just go, that was horrific. And I'm sure there were exceptions, but I can't think of any to start off the top of my head. Um, So the first, it's these three unrelated short stories. The only thing that's in common with them is that they all have a house in them, and the house is always kind of evil, and um, and uh, and the house looks the same. But otherwise, you see the first story is that one in the middle where it's the child and the baby. That's set in the Victorian era. The second story is the one to the left, which is anthropomorphic mice. And the third one is far to the right, which is the anthropomorphic cat. They're not the same world. There's like nothing connected.
that's
The
right.
thing
Yeah,
is, the thing I found it very striking, but I didn't like it.
huh?
And the reason I didn't like it was this. Um, these stories, particularly the first two, well, they build themselves as dark comedies, but they weren't comedies. The first one was just horrific. It basically involved a family who were um, given a house. The house turns out to basically be possessed. It makes the parents, it casts a spell over the parents such that they become obsessed with the house and they turn into furniture in the house. The children are trying to break the spell over the parents. They're unable to do so. The parents eventually, when they turn into furniture, they start screaming at the child, that it needs to escape and help the baby escape. Fire gets out, the parents burn alive, and the children fall into the snow, and that's the end of the story. There is
Yeah.
nothing funny about that.
No,
Like,
but
not even a little bit.
I want to point out that when I was watching this, I did not see the words. I didn't see a trailer for this. I didn't even know that it was billed as a dark comedy. So I had no expectations at all.
fair
I
enough.
just
Fair enough.
I
And
just looked at a a picture not unlike this one, and I went, okay, that looks interesting. Let's have a look.
yeah,
So
fair
yeah,
enough. And look,
my views were not okay. Dark comedy. This is going to be either really clever or terrible. No, I was just all right. Let's see what this is. The biggest problem that okay, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. The second incident. Now, as soon as I started watching this, I thought, okay, they're going to try and say something, some sort of
yes, this
a
is my problem
concept.
with it.
And the concept really is, in each of these projects, I have a feeling, going in, that the main characters have some sort of fault that will become their demise. I knew that was going to happen, and it kind of did.
Well,
But the
I
faults
would,
were not that bad, for one thing.
and they also weren't related to what happened to them.
No.
So like, it, that first story where the family is given this house, they walk in, the parents become obsessed with it, and because a spell is cast on them, they don't do anything to deserve it. They
No,
don't do anything.
the only thing that almost shows what their fault is that they're poor and desperate.
Yeah,
That's not a
that's
bad
it.
anecdote. That's not
They don't deserve it.
no.
I finished watching it, and I was thinking, I feel like I just watched a story where a man breaks into a home and murders the family with an axe and leaves
Yeah,
because it was that senseless. Um, the parents did not have any fatal flaw which led them to, like they didn't, like compared to Spirited Away. So the first story's got a
sure.
very fairy tale feel to it. In Spirited Away, the parents, they find a fantastic feast laid out, which is obviously not for them.
Yeah,
They sit down and they start eating it. And the daughter is saying, this isn't our food. We shouldn't be eating this. And they go, oh, come on. No one's going to notice. What does it matter?
yeah.
And,
And they get punished,
so
and their daughter
they
has
get
to
turned
try
into
and help them
pigs.
somehow.
Yeah.
This
They
goes
get,
on the journey of a good story.
yeah. Well, the thing is, remember, the parents not just get punished, like they get turned into pigs.
Yeah,
And so, like, the punishment, while it might be disproportionate, is at least related to their behavior, to their
sure.
poor behavior. This had nothing to do with it at all.
No, this is just an unrelated horror film. It's
Yeah.
it's unprovoked. It's an unprovoked horror film. The
And it didn't.
closest thing. We'll just go on to the second story as well,
Yeah, of course.
which is the closest thing to what might be considered a greedy comeuppance. But it's even so, this character didn't deserve such treatment.
No,
All
they
it
weren't
is
even
is
greedy.
this. All it is this mouse trying to sell his investment. And
Yeah,
yeah, they were
he doesn't.
alluding to the fact that he is not so much greedy, but he put in so much time into this thing that has no love and concept behind it, that all it does is just attracts pests and people who just will not leave. And so if there was, out of the three stories here, if there was a story that had some sort of a point, it
Yeah.
would probably be that one. But even so, it's just a guy trying to sell his house.
Yeah, you see, oddly, I thought if you wanted to talk about any of them having a point, I thought it would be the third one that had the strongest point. Um, but
Well, the third one has the strongest point, but also it it kind of has it's kind of correct in some way. Or at least I'm willing to make an argument about this. So the third story is about this woman, this cat, who is just trying to renovate the house, not even sell it, just renovate this house. And her her tenants just will not pay rent, which, by the way,
yeah,
something that I relate to a lot.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation.
And they make it quite clear. She wants the money so that she can fix the house. And so you've got the tenants going, oh, the water doesn't work. And she says, well, if you pay me in money, I can get somebody here to fix the plumbing so that the water will work.
Yeah.
And, you know,
So I
however,
immediately loved this character as soon as it started. I absolutely. So for the this is probably the first time after 40 minutes or an hour,
mm,
however long it's been. This is the first time in which I'm starting to like one of the characters. That says a lot.
yeah,
That says a lot
yeah,
when it takes this long to make you to really get attached to one of the characters or any character at all. Um,
the,
and in
the
the
catch
end,
is,
she. So go on. Sorry, I've
I was going to
talked
say
about.
the catch is, and you see, this is where I say, I think she's the only one where she actually had the stereotypical fatal flaw, the Shakespearean flaw, or however you would call it,
Sure.
um, is that you see, well, like in the second movie, you've just got, sorry, in the second one about the mouse trying to sell the house, you see him physically putting all the work into fixing it,
Yeah.
buying the materials, trying to fix it. He describes he's invested a lot. It describes that the bank is, he's borrowed money to try and fix up this house and sell it. And the bank is is going after him for the money. It makes it very clear that he's lonely and he's trying his hardest. He hasn't done anything wrong.
No.
Like
No.
as you said, he's not greedy in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't try and swindle people who are interested in buying the
No.
house.
Of course not.
He,
In fact,
you know,
when the people arrive and they want to from what he thought was
yeah,
buy it. He doesn't. He's not rude. He says, "Okay, if you want to stay for a while, okay." He's a good guy.
yeah. No, he's absolutely, and he's so, there's no lesson in that, and he just becomes destroyed, and it's the same sort of thing. Like going, there's nothing to this story. It has some more comedic elements in that it has him engaging in physical comedy, basically, as he tries to
Sure,
fix the place up and do this, that, and the other. But the thing is, after you've just watched 40 minutes of some family, being, may as well,
being
you've
burnt to
just watched the
death and
parents be
be a
burned alive
yeah,
for no reason, and you're like, and then I go, and now a rat tries to put up wallpaper. Ooh, I was like, yeah, no, if you want to change the mood now, mate, you got to do a lot more work than that.
yeah. This is way too much.
But
But
the thing with
the difference in the third one, there is no comeuppance.
there
She
is no,
changes her mind about her house and wants to kind of
well, they make
escape
it
it.
clear. Well, the thing is that we haven't mentioned is that, she's wanting to renovate the house. She's wanting, needing paying tenants. However, as becomes apparent in it, it appears to be a world affected by, global warming, flooding or
Yeah, there's a
something.
giant flood.
And
So while
so,
she's
and it
trying to
shows,
renovate the whole thing, it's in the middle of
yeah, the
nowhere.
water level is, yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. The water level is rising. And eventually one of her tenants says, look, there's no, you have to, and this is actually the point where it shifts, is that up to that point, and this is why I thought this story I thought worked quite well. Because up to that point, you're solely on her side, where
Yeah,
her tenants are trying to pay her in rocks and
yeah,
fish and this sort of stuff. And she keeps saying, I need the money. But eventually, one of the tenants says, look, I'm going to leave. And she goes, well, why are you going to leave? And the tenant says, look, the water keeps rising. You can't stay here. This place is going to flood. You need to leave. And then, she digs her heels in and says, no, 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 I'll never leave. I'm going to renovate this place. And that's when you go, oh, it's, she's just avoiding reality.
when your
You
point
know?
of view changes close to the same point of time in which the main character does, that's well written. That's a well
Yeah,
written story.
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
you had the fact is you had to just grab me from the beginning with likable characters, which it did.
Mm. Yeah,
Get
it
on
did.
to her point of view, which they did. change my point of view as well as the main character's point of view, which they did, and then have a actually not so much a happy ending, but a satisfactory ending. That's good. Yeah, it's one of the best stories I've ever seen, honestly. And unfortunately, it's tacked on to just misery.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I will say actually, I think the effect of the viewer is slightly different in that you watch it, you start watching it and you're totally on her side.
Mm-hmm.
And she's being a bit of a bitch to these people, but they like from her perspective and in normal circumstances, they utterly deserve it.
Yep.
And she's being really nice by pointing out that they had, one of them, she opens up the first conversation, she said, "You haven't paid me rent with money for 12 weeks." And like, that is a long time to, and it makes it clear she needs what she needs the cash for. And the tenants are demanding that she fix things when they're refusing to
Yeah.
pay. What it does is personally, for me, it was that line where the person said, "No, look, the water is rising. You need to leave. This actually isn't workable." She doesn't change her mind. She digs her heels in, but I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So
Our point of view changes. Her point of view changes,
Yeah,
but ours changes
after
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
realize what
then
she needs
go,
to do.
"Oh, right." And we then and it is quite actually interesting in that the way that it suddenly flicks, it flicks your understanding of the whole situation. You're
Yeah.
like, actually, I now understand why the tenants are looking at her like she's crazy when she demands
Yeah.
money.
When the
Because
whole house is just filling up with water and she's desperately trying to fix it with wallpaper. You get there's two wallpaper scenes. One at the beginning when we're on her side,
Yeah.
and another one where she hasn't quite realized how dangerous this is yet, but we have, and we seeing her putting up the wallpaper, and we as the audience are going, "Oh man, no, stop! This is pointless."
Yeah, that's it. No,
Brilliant
this isn't
use
working.
of scenery right there. Very
I
clever.
agree. I agree. I thought that was very clever.
So
And of course it had a I would say the ending wasn't terribly satisfactory in that it wasn't very clear what the hell happened.
yeah, I'll
Um,
grant you that, but after seeing two miserable endings, I'll take it.
yeah, I
So I
agree.
guess we
Like
have to
the scene,
ask, what the hell happened with this? What was the point? How do you think it should have gone better? I'm finding it difficult to know what they were trying to do here. First of all, I don't
look,
like short
mm,
story movies. I don't like three stories shoved together, unless it's done well, like Pulp Fiction. I don't like this format. First of all, I don't like to,
uh,
restart my expectations every 20 minutes or so for a movie.
I like short stories, but I will say that with the exception of Pulp Fiction, there are very few films I've watched where I've thought it's worked
Yeah.
because a you need a unifying theme, and this didn't have one.
No.
The only unifying theme this seemed to have is never try and improve anything. You suck. That
Yeah.
was it.
I think that's what we've learned. I think what we've learned is don't try and renovate your house, you capitalist whore. Get out of here.
It's just, don't try and renovate your house. I am aware that you're starving. I am aware that the bank is going to foreclose on everything you own. I am aware that you're desperate. It doesn't matter. Just starve in the gutter, you pointless piece of trash. That
I
seems to be the
I think we've learned great things today. Good. All right.
yes.
Cool.
Hooray.
And I
So
wanted to like this film so much. I like 1/3 of this film, but that's not enough.
yeah.
Sorry.
Helena Bonham Carter, by the way, does the voice of the cat,
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah.
protagonist in the third short story. And it was funny. The reason I looked it up was that I was watching that third story, and I was like, whoever that actress is really damn good because they're absolutely selling their perspective. And I looked it up and like,
Yeah.
oh,
She's a good actor. That explains it. Right. Oh, okay.
okay. All right then. So my overall takeaway of the film is no, I don't recommend it. It does sort of stay with you. If you want something that's visually striking, then yes, it is certainly that.
It is
You'll
pretty.
remember it. It's more, yeah, it's more than pretty. The storytelling is sufficiently strong that it creates images that stick with you. They're just not very satisfying stories. So
Yeah.
my criticism of it would be if you're going to have three short stories around a theme, you need to actually have a theme, not just a common piece of set.
Yeah, that's true.
You may as well have have a film called The Pencil, and then have
I
three
was
short
gonna say
stories.
some sort of generic thing.
Yeah, and then three short stories where in each of them somebody has a pencil. Like that's not enough.
Isn't
Um,
there a movie out there called The Violin, and it shows 200
oh,
years
it's
worth
something
of
like
the
that.
owners? That sounds
Could
interesting,
be.
or
It could
maybe
be.
it's not.
I haven't seen it, but the fact that we've both heard of it indicates that it's better than The House.
Maybe
But also the other thing is, if you're going to tell these sort of fairy tale, pseudo morality tales, you
that's
need
what it is, isn't
to,
it? It's pseudo morality.
yeah, you need to actually have, um, you need to have the victims, 'cause that's what they are,
Yeah.
do something that, you know, that makes their punishment, um, even if the punishment is disproportionate, is at least related. That all invites it to
So
some
I
extent.
think what we're doing is ultimately saying, don't watch this, watch Tales of the Crypt instead,
Huh.
because that
Could be.
has a higher moral high ground than this.
It would actually.
Yeah, but
When you put it
that's a
like
whole thing,
that.
isn't it? You know, they have a thing where there's always a miserable, grotesque ending, but it's because of a comeuppance that the person actually deserved,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Like, yeah, the behavior is actually the comeuppance is linked to the behavior of the characters.
You know what this reminds?
And
You know what? Now that I think about it, this reminds me
mm,
of Russian fairy tales. That I think that's what this is. I think I just
I
watched the tale of Baba Yaga, where where Baba Yaga sees someone go into the forest, tortures them, and that's it. Go to sleep, my little one. I think that's all it is. The moral
wow.
of the story is don't fuck with Baba Yaga or
Okay, there you go.
renovate.
Well, that's very helpful. Some of the Greek myths were a bit like that. I
You're
remember
right. Basically no moral code in any of the Greek
oh,
myths. It's just
the only
stuff
moral
happens.
code seems to be have nothing to do with the gods.
Yeah,
Um,
don't screw around with the gods. That's it. You're welcome.
do you remember
Bye.
this? Do you remember the story of Arachne?
Ah,
Like,
yeah. This the tale of when of a woman who claimed she could spin better, as in
no,
spin
she doesn't. Wow, the version
so
I
better
heard.
than the gods, and she does, and one of the gods gets angry and turns her into a spider.
Yeah, that's basically it.
And
The
there's no
story,
moral behind that at all. It's just
the
the
version I
origin of
heard.
a spider, and
Yeah,
yeah, don't big up the gods.
yeah.
Don't pretend
Well,
like you're bigger than any god is what.
the version I heard, she doesn't even claim anything. She's just an
Ah,
extremely good weaver, and people say of her, she's even a better weaver than Athena. So
yeah.
Athena comes down, like I don't know, like even if you pull out the ancient Greek versions, there are multiple versions of these tales. Um, so Athena basically comes down and says, "I've heard that you're better than the gods. I want to take a look at your work,
The poor girl,
and if
she's
your
just
work
going,
is."
no, 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 no. I never said that. I'm just trying to do my work. Who are you?
And
Get out.
Athena is thinking, if she's particularly talented, I will take her on as an apprentice. And she goes and she sees her work, and she realizes that the girl is even better than Athena. So Athena flies into a rage and she tears the girl's work apart, and the girl is mortified.
Yeah.
So she runs off and kills herself. And Athena says, Athena feels guilty, so she says, "All right, I'm going to turn you into a spider, but I'm going to turn you into a spider so that you can continue to weave beautiful patterns, but no one will compare your work to the gods anymore." So
Yeah, that's just as bad.
yeah,
Man,
so you could argue that that is just as bad as what happens in the house,
I have a
and yet,
question. Do you
yeah,
did you know that the
mm.
storyteller did a
Oh yes, Jim
version
Henson.
of the Greek gods?
No,
Of course you
no, I
didn't.
did
Do you know
not.
why? Because it was
Why?
miserable and terrible, and everyone
Huh.
forgot it, including me. I saw a few episodes and I thought this is really bad. I don't want to watch this. It's unbelievably miserable because Greek tales, although they're unbelievably old, they're really miserable. They're not for kids or adults.
You're right. It is pretty horrible. I forgot, like, there's all these stories where, Zeus or Jupiter, the same, different names for the same god, looks down off his cloud, sees some hot chick,
Yeah, yeah.
goes, you know what
I
I'm gonna
know.
do?
I know.
I'm gonna go rape her.
Oh
And he
God.
does. And then his wife gets angry at the girl for being raped by Zeus and tries to kill her. And they're like, this is horrific.
Yeah.
And one of them, which is of course for unknown reasons, is that famous, it's a famous scene used in oil, in classical paintings. Um, is where Zeus turns himself into a duck and
Yes.
then rapes a girl as a duck. And was it a duck or a goose? It's probably a goose.
I think I've also heard that it was a swan. It might be a
Oh, was it a
swan.
swan?
Some
No,
sort
it could
of
be a
a
swan. I
weird
think it's a
wobbly
swan.
necked water based bird.
But there's all these paintings of that image of like this girl, you know, but, tenderly caressing, this nude girl tenderly caressing a swan, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
Dali did one.
oh, so there you go. It's funny. I'm looking at it, going, A, that's weird. B, the story is quite clear. It's not consensual.
No.
It's very clear. Um, and this is, yeah. But that's and Hera. That's right. Hera was Zeus's wife, and of course would try and kill the girl and try and kill the child, because
Yeah, and
Hercules was
this happens
one of
all the
these
time
unions.
in these episodes. I say episodes, I mean stories, but it might as well be a terrible sitcom. Dark
Oh,
dark sitcom where they forgot to put the comedy in.
I thought it would actually be a neat. I had an idea. Speaking of these things,
Go on. We
I
might as
would
well promote
love
some.
to see.
Let's see. Okay,
Oh,
pitch it to me, Steve.
pitch it.
Pitch
Pitch
it.
it. Okay. Okay.
I'm a producer, all
Black.
right. All right.
All right.
Pitch it.
You remember Black Mirror,
Oh yeah.
right? Okay. Now, Black Mirror very successful, but it was all talking about technology, and of course, eventually, it sort of ran that idea into the ground. Same concept, okay? Except it's not technology. What it is it's modern versions of Greek myths.
Right.
So,
Oh right. Okay.
class, classic one, for example, Narcissus.
All right. You
Narcissus.
played Narcissist. No, you didn't play him, but you were in
Oh
a.
yeah, I
Uh,
wasn't. I wasn't a play about Narcissus. I played. Yeah, I was in that story, but I wasn't Narcissus. But Narcissus, of course, draws a natural analogy to uh, to social media influences. You know, it's this idea of being so obsessed with yourself
I
that you
see where you're going
become,
with this. Yes.
yes, you become, and there are modern versions of this where you become incapable of um, interacting or connecting with anyone else. And that's just, it doesn't even need to be supernatural. on
No,
that
no,
level.
I hear you. There's
There was,
some great paintings of narcissists just looking into the
yeah.
pond, and you could very easily replace that with people looking at their phones.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there you go, Alex. If you're interested in the concept for a painting, I think they're actually doing something which alluding to that famous painting of Narcissus staring at the pond, except that he's staring at the phone, I think would be anyway. The but so for example, and I was thinking of this recently, this is apparently a bit of an old story, but there was a vlogger of whom I've never heard before and don't particularly care, and I'll never hear of him again, who one of these tween vlogger types, he's, blonde hair, goes on about how awesome he is, and um, sells socks, this sort of thing. I'm gonna look up his name. But he, was flying around the world basically being a bit of an entitled douche is probably the best.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
which one? There's a lot. There's a lot.
yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Um,
The word,
but what
the
he
word that I
does,
have hated more than anything is the word influencer.
Logan Paul, that was the name.
Oh, yeah. Are you alluding to the time in which he went
Yeah,
to Japan?
he went to Japan. So he goes to Japan, and the thing is, of course, like everything he does is about him. And
Sure.
I heard this comment that, like, he goes around the world, but when he goes to the other nations, like, he doesn't show anything about the nation. He just shows, he just sort of, it's just more set up for him to impose his personality on other people.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, he just sort of, yeah. And that really comes to the fore when he goes to Japan and he decides to go to the Japanese suicide forest, which
Mm,
is, a forest which is known for basically people going there to commit suicide. And he goes to this forest, he walks off the track, and he finds a man hanging from the neck by a noose in the forest. And he's videotaping this man's corpse. And he's just going on about, oh, this is the freakiest thing I've ever. This is man, this is just so amazing. And it was just like, how fucking self-absorbed are you? Like,
just stop
seriously.
recording this, and mark where the thing is, and alert someone. Just
Yeah.
just stop.
Yeah, this isn't about you anymore.
No.
Like, can you have no sympathy for that human being who's lying there dead, who's killed themselves in front of you?
Hmm.
Um, but no, like the thing is, he just talks about it like it's a bloody prop. Because, and this is the weird thing, is that it just seems to have been a natural progression of everything else. Like, of course, he considered the man, the man's body a prop. He's considered everyone else a prop.
Hmm.
So why would this be
Yeah.
any different? And I'm not gonna pretend that, I have, sat there and watched all this guy's vlogs. I'm just sort of repeating what appears apparent from hearing the
Yeah.
stories about him.
I followed the story as well when it popped up, and that's the first time I heard about him as well. Honestly.
Yeah, that was the first time I heard about him. But you can see, like, like when I think of him, I see you've got the picture there of Narcissus. There's several paintings like that.
Yeah.
There's one, if I recall, where Narcissus is leaning over the pond. So not lying by the
Yeah.
pond, but
This
leaning over, looking in.
this one I think open.
Oh, gee, there's a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah,
I mean,
yes.
it's a thousand.
Caravaggio, yeah, of course.
It's a story that's over 1,000 years old. So
Yeah, it's a classic one. But the thing is, if you pull up a picture of Logan Paul, even though he doesn't look like any of those depictions of Narcissus, but if you were going to do a picture of Narcissus, yeah, it'd probably look like Logan
All right.
Paul.
I'm curious. Logan Paul. Let's have a look. I mean, I immediately hate the guy. Uh, is this really the guy? Yeah, this is the guy. I
He's
remember
the
now. Yeah.
third one along. Yeah, it's the
Did he get
third
into
one
boxing
along.
or something?
I don't know. I don't think that's him. That seems to be Floyd Mayweather. Go up the top. That's him in the tuxedo. Oh my God. Maybe that is him. Boxing star type. No, surely not. But that's definitely him on the third picture along. Logan Paul YouTube. That yeah, that him. And also above. Logan Paul
Oh,
controversy.
he's talking
So,
about the value of his NFT wallet. Yeah,
oh my God. Um,
because we
yeah.
don't hate him enough already. All right, that's an. Well, I don't want to just blatantly dunk on someone. He didn't he
Yeah,
didn't uh he didn't ask for this today. He's asked for it other
he
days,
didn't.
but not today. Uh,
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Lest I
But
become my enemy the moment I start preaching.
I haven't actually heard that line, but that's not a bad one.
I've been saying that a lot recently about certain political figures, but I won't get into that.
Fair
Um,
enough. Fair enough.
I wanted to ask. Right, it's been a
Hmm.
while since we got into TikTok, or at least had a look at
Oh
TikTok.
yeah. Yes, yes, it's true.
What do you make of TikTok?
All right. As a medium, I think it's quite good.
All right.
I think it's quite clever. As a medium, I think there is definitely space for this sort of, this sort of I think it's better than Vines because the Vines were so short that I just didn't get anything from them. It was a
The th-
series of 1 second
as
videos.
far as what I've been told, Vine didn't
Mm.
really evolve, and it sounds like TikTok is attempting to evolve into something. At least if it's longer than a couple of seconds. It's a minute maximum, but it's a minute maximum for the moment. There's a fair chance that you can. There's not going to be an upper limit to how long TikTok videos will be, and that's the whole
Well,
thing. It's a platform that kind of encourages you to change the medium. It's a medium that's constantly trying to evolve. I will definitely say this. As soon as I saw it, as soon as I got my new phone, I said, right, let's have a look at this TikTok thing, and I downloaded it, had a look through, and I've never felt more old in my life.
uh,
Which I
yeah,
think is
yeah,
everyone's point of view as soon as they
reaction.
check it out for the first
Look,
time.
I do want to draw a distinction, I think, between TikTok as a medium and the content on TikTok.
Yes, that's
Uh,
true. The thing is, the medium a lot of the time encourages the content.
yes,
It's
that is true.
technically speaking that shouldn't, in theory, happen, but it does.
It does. Yeah, that's
If
true. And
you
these
have a
minutes,
yeah, and the reason why we know it creates a certain type of content is because a fair portion of the content is the same.
oh, God, yes, that was the thing. I downloaded TikTok. I watched. I spent like one night. I was just sitting up actually with my wife watching it. We must have watched it for hours. And then we turned it off and we're like, we don't need to watch this anymore. This
Yeah,
is this is
after
all very much the same.
after
And
after
but
years of watching stuff that actually has substance, and then looking at TikTok, uh, yeah, I'm left going. You're not producing anything original, guys. You're just 80
yeah,
percent of the things that are on there are people mouthing the words to not just
oh
songs
yeah,
but sketches, which
yeah.
is
It's just
not something that
it's not
I have
creative at
seen
all.
before.
No, I mean, and that really does remind me of, a bunch of, which is what it is. A bunch of kids get a camera and record themselves,
Yeah,
you know, acting out their favorite Monty Python skit.
yeah,
It's that sort of thing. But like, I don't need to see 600 people
do
act
the
out the
same
same
thing.
skit. Like, it's always the same joke. I
Yeah,
don't need this. I think it does, speaking of narcissism, it certainly does. attract a large chunk of people who are only on there to show off how hot they are,
I will.
which get
This depends on the sort of things that, because I've been on it a while. Yes, I know we've been bashing TikTok for a while, but I'm still on it and I still go through it. So that's my problem. These are my demons. I will handle them. But
look, it's
here's the thing, though. I find it interesting because I have certain artistic interests in this, and I've been
mm,
following artists on TikTok, and yeah, there's a fair portion of them going on, which is really interesting. The way, if you are a visually minded person,
mm,
you interpret this platform. What I'm saying is, if you are a cosplayer and
yeah,
you don't know what to do for content, then this is perfect because you can just dress up as your favorite character and then reproduce your favorite, lines from your favorite TV show, and no one will think it's odd. This is exactly
yeah,
what
that's it.
those
And
cosplayers want.
oh,
It's
look,
it's
hell, half the
something that
time
they've
you
kind of
just
been
use.
looking for years, to be
Oh
fair.
yeah, look, hell, there's 101 memes effectively which you just copy where people like I stumbled onto one which was what is it? It's along the line of it was a it's the sound comes from SpongeBob SquarePants and it's just why aren't you in uniform?
Oh yeah.
And it's very simple. Yeah, person walks on, why aren't you in uniform? Walks off, comes back in, usually in an extremely revealing cosplay outfit.
And that's about it.
That's it. That is it. And like there must be thousands of those bloody things on there. And it's the same setup, it's the same payoff, it's the same beats. It's just oh my God, it's so boring. But the thing is, I guess I wanted to say about TikTok is first, I did actually want to say that the medium is, I think, is quite good, and I will say that TikTok, I think, has filled the hole that YouTube has left behind. As
Uh,
YouTube production values have gone through the roof, then ordinary people can't make YouTube videos anymore. One
yeah.
of the first two Smart Arts podcasts we did, you put up on YouTube, and I don't know if you remember this, but somebody commented on it, and they went, "This is so good. This is just like what YouTube used to be."
Thank
Because
you, stranger.
yeah, but well, but that was it, and it actually really brought it home to me was that yeah, that's true. Like we don't have, and we're not interested in creating like a full professional, you know, television setup here.
Yeah.
Um,
I try. I try.
look, you do very well. This is far more your bag than mine. But like, I don't have a room dedicated to this with a full lighting rig. But if you want to make YouTube stuff, that's pretty much what you need now. This stuff
Yeah,
has
that's
full
true. It is
professional.
expensive. It's expensive, and you need.
It's full professional production values. Um,
If
it
you
is
want
not
to
the sort of
professionally become a YouTuber, you really have to think to yourself, okay, I need the full setup like Rhett and Link or something. It's sort of you need that.
it's
Uh,
not the minor stuff with just you talking your thoughts to a webcam. That's not what
no,
it is.
not anymore. Anyway.
And no, not anymore. And so you can see how if people want to create things, people want to, and they don't, like I want to make something fun with my friends. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a lighting setup. I don't want to have to devote a full day to filming. Um, I, I don't want to have my own sound crew. Um, the then you put it on TikTok because you can do it with your phone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's a medium that's unapologetically for the phone. I mean, it encourages you to put stuff up vertically. I
yeah,
mean,
well,
that
it's
says a
low
lot.
barriers to entry. It's very, yeah, it's a very friendly platform to put stuff up on.
Yeah.
And and then that's I think definitely a one of its advantages. I will say that because of, and it is a product of the medium, I think that a whole lot of people who put product stuff up there don't have anything to say. They just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Hence, I'm just going to repeat. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. Hence, I'm just going to repeat a comedy clip that somebody else has come up with because lo and behold, heaven forbid I should say something that hasn't been approved by the hive mind as being funny because this is how 14-year-olds think. And yeah, that's how it works. The one thing I will say that TikTok has made me realize, speaking of being old, I have come to the conclusion that it is utterly impossible for anybody under the age of 25 to accurately portray anyone of the above the age of 30. I don't know what happens in that 5 years,
There's
but
something that happens when you turn 30
oh,
that
it's
I
awful.
know. I'm not going to exactly tell. I know exactly what happened with me. I'm not going to explain it
Oh,
on.
I don't mean that it was awful when I became 30. I mean, I'm watching these, people do come up with original content for
Mm,
TikTok and, good for them, but often they involve portrayals of grown-ups. Basically, it's always like, okay, this is what the student teacher is like. And I'm watching it going, I dated a student teacher. They're not even slightly like that. Like, have you never met somebody who's graduated university?
no,
Or the
because
stuff like, yeah,
there's a separation there. There's those who are adults
yeah,
and those who are not, and that's it
that's it.
for up to a
I
certain
remember,
age.
yeah, I remember seeing one where it was a series and it was this girl all about, mum finds out that girl has makeup and it was this girl plays both parts and and the mother's behaving, in a particular way about finding out that her daughter's done X, Y, Z, and I'm watching it going, do you know any adults? Because this is not how adults work. And um, she'd be like sneaking things around the mother, and I'd be looking at it going, you do appreciate your mum's not a moron, okay? Like your mum is fully aware of what you're doing because she's not an idiot, and you are not being subtle at all. It reminds me actually of when I finished high school, just one of those moments of learning, I suppose. When I finished high school in Australia, we have this big party called Schoolies, as you're fully aware, Alex.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I'm glad I
yeah, yeah.
never
So
did that.
I did. It was fun. I'm glad I did, but I only did it for a couple of days. But it was like the first day. Anyway, it's illegal. Underage drinking in Australia is of course illegal, and it is also illegal in Queensland at least to walk around with open cans of alcohol. Right? You can have closed cans, but you can't just wander the streets drinking, basically, in this state. So I was walking down the street, and there were some people in front of us, and they're all kids, and they all had open bottles of alcohol, and they saw the police coming, and the police starts to, pull up, and it's nighttime, so the kids throw all their bottles of alcohol into the grass, and
Oh
the
dear.
police pull up and they
Okay.
go, get the bottles of alcohol. Kids go, what bottles of alcohol? And the police go, just get the bottles of alcohol. What bottles of alcohol? We didn't have any bottles of alcohol. And the police just turn on the floodlights on top of the thing, point to the bottles of alcohol and go, we saw you throw them in the grass. Those ones. Get them. And it was one of those coming of age moments where you could see the kids had obviously been used to pulling this sort of stunt on teachers, parents, what have you. And now I'm a parent myself. I actually kind of get it in that a lot of the time you just sort of let it slide because you don't terribly care.
Yeah.
You know,
But then
like
all of
every
a
now and
sudden,
then,
when you're actually trying to do adult things with other adults and trying to convince other adults with adult things,
yeah, you
there's a
suddenly
different
learn that people.
dynamic.
It's a very different dynamic because, like, it was like amazingly, the cops aren't stupid. They're not blind. They can see you throw it into the grass. Okay? This isn't a teacher who's being paid. This isn't a teacher who doesn't terribly care about you breaking some minor infraction. So when you go, I'm not smoking, teacher, what are you talking about? There are a lot of teachers who just go, I don't really care, and wander off. But yeah, they know you were smoking because they can smell, you know.
Yeah.
It's and it's that sort of stuff when I was watching it going, your mum's not an idiot. You obviously have no idea how the adult, about how grown-ups, and it was weird to call them grown-ups, but how people aged 30 and over actually operate, because you cannot portray them. I saw one which was called, what is it? An Eshe meets your father. And an Eshe is a subculture which I think has come up in Australia since you've left. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just a youth subculture.
Okay,
Yeah?
go on.
And one of the things with Eshes is that they tend to like speaking Pig Latin. Yeah,
Huh.
I know. It's weird. It's weird. But apparently that's it. They like speaking Pig Latin.
These
Anyway.
are English speaking kids.
Yeah. In
Well,
Australia.
this isn't unusual. I mean, kids love to talk nonsense a lot.
Yeah.
That happens. I remember.
Anyway, the description, I'm watching this clip as an Eshe meets your dad. And this kid, it's the same person playing both the Eshe and the father. Anyway, plays the Eshe, sort of wanders up, and apparently the Eshes are quite violent. And he starts speaking in Pig Latin, threatening the father to mug him. And the dad then stands up and goes, "Hello, young man. It's nice to see you. How are you doing today?" I'm like, what? Who the fuck talks like that?
Huh.
And the Eshe is speaking Pig Latin, and the joke is that the father's not understanding. And he starts, "Oh, yes, indeed, the parts of my
The parts of
yeah."
No, this isn't a troll. This is my mate Sue.
I know it's not a troll. I guess it was a mate. Yeah.
Yeah. This is my mate Sue. I sorted her book out, which will come out
Right.
fairly soon. So.
Oh, excellent. There we go. There we are. But yeah, the thing is, so this clip is going on, and the guy, the guy is continually trying to mug the father, and he starts moving violently, and the father goes, "Oh, are we dancing now? Are we?" And starts, just sort of dancing on the spot, and I'm like,
What is it? What is this? What am I listening to here? Is this an actual bit of footage that was found, or is it a what's?
No, it's a comedy skit. It's a comedy skit that somebody has written and created.
Ah,
And the thing is like, and that was why, like I said, it's the same guy playing the mugger and the father.
playing both parts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and
And the joke is
the joke is that
basically,
there's this old fuddy duddy who can't understand the guy's lingo, and so is not scared and
yeah,
doesn't
exactly. That's the
communicate
joke.
and blah blah blah. And
The thing is, look, if somebody came up to me and started moving threatening and started demanding money from me in Indonesian, I think I'd understand it.
yeah,
Like, there are some concepts that are easily conveyed in any language. "Give me money or I'll cut you" is one of them. It's um, I'm just watching it going. Have, have you not had a conversation with an adult? Not get how this works.
yeah. It's weird. It's weird that kids have got that sort of I always knew that there was a disconnect between kids and adults. I didn't realize it was that
Yeah,
prominent
I didn't realize.
until they try to imitate. That
Yeah.
is a fair point. I had this I on a separate thought. I had this idea of
Mm.
how there's a lot of people specifically conservative groups who say that kids are spoiled these days and stuff like that. All this stuff. And, kids are...
yeah.
Well, look, first of all, kids have always been spoiled.
Yeah.
Whatever. But what I found really interesting is... Because I spoke to one of my mates' kids, and, she was great. She was lots of fun. But what I found really weird is that she put on this persona of someone who loves the absurdity. Basically, she had this conversation of, let's worship the egg. All hail the egg. And she started to recite, scripture for the egg. Oh, egg in heaven,
You
hallowed
once
be your name.
write an entire book
That's
doing this exact same thing.
That's my point. My point being, kids are all the same. This sort of shit has happened for decades, maybe hundreds of years. And I think that this is my theory. It's probably wrong, but I don't care. It's my theory. I think it's because when you get to a certain age, maybe 12 or something, you sort of want to have an identity. And the quickest way to have an identity is to be as weird as possible.
Yeah, could do it.
And, that's why, head into, horror, science fiction, stuff like that. Get into and start to recite weird, stupid things. The greatest television show ever is Monty Python,
Yeah.
This is my childhood, and I immediately saw myself in this kid, and I found her, first of all, very relatable, but also really annoying. But my point being, this happens all the time. This thing that's constantly considered a Gen Z thing, which is purposefully misspelling words and misinterpreting complete sentences, like, oh no, I was playing Call of Duty 3 and this person unalived me, that sort of purposefully screwing up
language play.
Language play. That's been around since the beginning of language.
Of course it has. That's what Pig Latin is.
Yeah, exactly. That's where OK came from.
Oh, there you go.
It came from people screwing around with wordplay and coming up with all's correct. All's correct is not spelt with an O or a K. Ah, or is it? Nem, 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 says the Gen Zer.
Yeah, I remember
this has been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah. No, I that's just language play. That's what kids do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if you consult a linguist or a psychiatrist, they'd be able to give you some sort of reason about it. It's something to do with, the way that the brain develops as far as language goes. But in any event, that just kind of is what it is.
Yeah. So that's TikTok.
That's TikTok.
That's TikTok for you. Thank you, TikTok.
So we've been going 90 minutes. It's usually there we go. Miss Sasha Hayes has
Hello. Hello, Miss Sasha Hayes. How are you? Hope you've been well. Could be worse, I suppose. We've got a few things we still have a few things to talk about, but let's put that on hold for next week.
We've been going about an hour and a half. So
an hour and a half's good.
Hope you know who I am. Hee. Well, you're Miss Sasha Hayes. Even I know who you are.
Look,
it says in the name.
It says right there. I hear you.
You can't trick us with your reverse psychology.
You.
Anyway.
Wait, no, I don't know who you were talking about. No. Okay. Hello, Anna. Yes, this is Anna.
Awkward Owl. I seem to recall you joining in on one of our other ones a very long
Yeah,
time ago.
she's been around. She's one of my long-term, regulars and friends. Um,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, awkward. Yeah, Anna. No, not Anna.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I was thinking about someone else. Sorry, man. Not only do people don't use their real names, but they change their names a lot. So yeah, I got confused. Sorry about
I
that.
mostly remember the name Awkward Owl. I don't.
My mate Anna loves owls, and so I think she changed her name to Owl something. And this is Awkward Owl. Sorry about that, Lauren. On that delightfully
Needless.
awkward.
It's extremely awkward. I can see why you were called Awkward Owl.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
On this
God,
on this awkward note. All right, let's yeah, we need to wrap up.
we need to wrap
Um,
up. Next week I want to talk about. Yeah, let's next week I want to talk about a Russian artist who's in trouble for doing vagina drawings.
yes.
And I also want to talk about Rob Liefeld because everyone says that he's a terrible artist, and I want to defend him somehow.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to that. I'll be talking about an incident that occurred in Australia here in legal circles, actually. It's a very weird
Legal
sort
circles.
of, yeah. Um, yes, about a judge and a unusual case. So anyway, we'll talk about
All
that.
right. Well, everyone,
Next week.
remember to type in uh, uh, two
I
smart arts because sure. There you go. That's the
Yay.
raid call. It's a terrible raid call. I should find some way of typing in a second raid call for us. Remember to copy and paste that, guys. This has been Two Smart Arts. We've been Two Smart Arts. I've been Alexander, and
And I've been Stephen.
yeah, that's right. So thanks, guys.
I picked up the cue eventually.
There you go. Good man.